The moment of creation is a form of magic, where an off becomes an on, a 0 becomes a 1, then another, and another, until, deep in the complexity, you discover order, speed, reliability, power. Experience the WD Black NVMe SSD. Fueled by darkness. Level up to NVMe SSD performance.
Op 4 has placed a diffuser near a bomb. Destroy it. Diffuser located. Protect the bomb. Last operator standing. Located the diffuser. Destroy it.
possibly impact the entire motorsports community and ecosystem and related facilities. Their overall vision to develop supporting projects which impact motorsport and next-generation automotive developments are something to discuss and more throughout their investments. With that, let's take a look at how they'll start for the opening round of the season. Your pole sitter is Amit Kuti with Cypriot V in second spot. Kumar starts in third, Tijan in P4. Root P5 looking to carry momentum for the end of last season with Raka of Badirajan in 6th. Tiaji starts in 7th, Hadi in P8. Ohanraja starts in P9, and B Cabin, a new driver, starts inside the top 10. He'll look to bring his teal machine into victory lane. Swaraj Yajav starts in 11th spot. Pragmatish Yajri starts in 12th. Karen Kaushik starts in 13th position. Samarvel starts in 14th position with a different race car color this season. Radirajan starts in P15, Roy in 16th. Rest of the drivers not set official times. Cook Day, Purist, Dudia, along with a new driver as well, and Shelvin Fernandez. Those drivers are made their way towards the starting grid, and 20 minutes is the distance for today. Drivers are looking to be safe on today's starting grid, what should be a fun and wild race. The differences you may see compared to, say, Formula 1 is this is the classic pit start for today, meaning they will start from the grid boxes just on the other end of turn 1. However, remember, the finishing line is at the other end of the racetrack. Couple last moments before the drivers get the red lights to get underway. One driver has not made their way to the grid, and that is Dudia, in time to rev their engines for today's action. Are you ready to go? Season 4 of the Mumbai Falcons Indian eRacing Championship in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India is underway. Good launch by all the drivers. Kuti already single file. Prithvi trying to line up the slipstream. Kumar side by side with T-Jump up the hillside. Down the Kettle straight they go. Harris and Dudia missed the start. Side by side for the race lead. 2 by 2 now. Make it 3 wide for the race lead on lap 1. T-Jump backs off. Kuti moves up to the race lead. He tries to run away. Contact in the middle of the pack meanwhile. Several drivers in trouble. 10th on back. Calvin involved. Roy involved. Kauchik involved. Several others also spin. 9th on forward. Able to get through cleanly. You can see on your screen several drivers were sent up into the air. And with the new damage model, several drivers with broken front wings and tires along the race cars. In total, 13 drivers still running, but the leaders ran away. Kuti, Prithvi, Badirajan up +3 after the jump. Kuti showed some great pace last season. Lots of improvement. It was just a lot of the times trying to balance out the aggression. Kumar, meanwhile, he's trying to regain some of the positions he lost off the jump. -2 in the opening lap so far. Tries to turn it back to -1. And now to the left side through Blanchimont. This is for P4. Kumar trying to go defensive, the 30-year-old photography hobbyist. All over the racetrack, near contact is T-Jump. Nearly hit the front wing, spin behind. TG spun in the middle of the corner. Root was also collected from the top 5. Rest of the drivers off and away. You can see the lost grip and nowhere for Root to go, as well as he also spun in the final chicane end lap 1. Estimated 9 laps to go the distance. Cypriot, listen on in as he tries to gain back time. Same thing goes for the driver in P3, Badirajan. He looks to run away, but battle behind for 4th. Kumar and Tija going back and forth. One of the risks when it comes to racing here is the slipstream very powerful down the Kemmel Straight. You see several back and forth such as that. You see the separation amongst those two cars about 1.1 seconds, give or take. They've also, however, lost a bit of touch to the cars in front with that fight by a few tenths of a second. By about 1 second specifically. There's Majiver John, P3, for example. Tija trying to break up a little bit of the slipstream this time, heading to the exit of Sector 3. This is through stop block. Tija hits the sand, able to hold on to the grip though. Several drivers have lost control in similar situations such as that. So much time though as the slipstream is broken up a little bit, but Diverjaw's trying to fall behind Priya V. Kuti running away in the clean air still early on in this race. 1.8 seconds is the gap at the end of lap number 2, already just past 4 minutes on the clock in the race. If you remember back to last season's several races, this 16-year-old driver had performed in run-away such as Kuti, but several times got involved with incidents in battles. This race, he's been able to run away as the fastest driver in the 2:13 so far. Compare that to the drivers on screen. Drivers are running the 13s to 2teens in some of the dirty air early on. Kumar, he tries to get the draft. This has gone back and forth a couple laps now for P number 4. Tija with good defense this time, able to hold him off, heading through the cone. It's time to Bruxelles, then off to Pouon. They are gaining ground now that they've single-filed out, though, and gaining ground as well a little bit. You see him in the backdrop. Is the number 1 machine of Kazakh Mohammadjan. He's currently still about a second and a half back, but slowly reeling these cars in by about 4/10 a lap. Cook Day as well. He's gaining some time on a chance to move up to P7. He was about 2 seconds quicker than the car in front last time by. Meanwhile, Root trying to rebound as he's got front wing damage in his race car. He's already got several votes for the fan boost. Side of today's broadcast. See a little bit of that damage picking up more so on the right side of the left. Fernandez, meanwhile, he was able to get through cleanly after the incident. These are the 11 drivers who made it through the first lap trouble in the cone. Everyone else has had to take a tow and/or a fast repair. Battle up ahead for P4 is starting to heat up. Kumar able to dive to the left side of the racetrack. T-John loses the spot once again. That was down the final chicane, able to get the slipstream for the pass. Tija, though, wants it back, and now it's a 3-car battle for P3 for the 3rd step of the podium for the opening round of the season. Adira John nearly overcooked the corner, heading through turn number 1. It's getting up right on Eau Rouge. Diverjaw's starts to pull away. Here comes the move once again from Tija. Some aggressive moves once again, side by side. These drivers have not given up this fight at all this race. Tija this time takes it away. Back on the defensive, Tija really trying to play hard to the bottom side in Bruxelles. Back off to turn 11. And this, again, has allowed the one of Kazakh Mohammadjan to go right into the fight. And all of a sudden, a 3-car fight for P3 has turned into a 3-car fight for P4. As this is going on, by the way, Amit Kuti has stabilized the gap at about 1.7 to 1.8 seconds between him and second place Sai Prithvi. Some of the best driving we've seen from him so far in this series the past couple seasons. Clean run, very fast on the short run. The question is going to be, how will that speed balance out on the long run as the tire wear starts to settle in? Comparison's sake, last time by, lost about 1/10 of a second in terms of pace. Hit a bit of the curbing, and we'll have to deal with lap traffic too from some of the tows from the early incident. That time by, another 2:14 flat. And the gap is starting to come down because Prithvi has now gotten up to speed now that his tires have heated up. He gained 0.2 about last time by. Estimated 5 laps to go. You see it on the upper corner of your screen. Approaching 10 minutes on the clock. These lap times gigantic. Prithvi trying to somehow reel them on in. The leader will have a bit of draft though coming up here off of Devon Dudia. Currently in 18th position. Check that 16th position. He is the first car 1 lap down just up the racetrack.
And then Sai will come.
Of note, as you can see on the side of your screen, the battle has shifted around for P4. That's because the pass was made by Kumar to put himself in P4. Tijan is back in P5 once again. Hanrajan not been able to make a move quite yet. There have also been battles for P8, which involves 4 cars under a blanket. Let's take a look at the battle for 4th specifically. This is allowing rank up Adirajan to run away. But Kumar, will he be able to hold on to this round? One of the drivers had a prediction earlier on today. For today's action, let's take a look at what that prediction was for Amit Kuti.
I think Abdul Fattah will win it, and then Sai will come second, and I might come third.
Well, Amit Kuti is currently dominating right now, to say the very least. Meanwhile, back and forth continuing for the spawn. Tijan this time gets it. Contact behind. Kumar gets spun by Mohan Raja. Mohan Raja, severe damage. Kumar loses all the track position. Let's take a look on the screen. You can see Mohan Raja tried to send it up the inside of the final chicane. As Kumar tried to diamond it for a run, he gets spun instead. And now Kumar's significant suspension damage, the 777, may be done for the race. Deverjan now runs away while Kuti has reached that traffic we talked about. He's already reached Dudia, but Kosik now being lapped this time. He's trying to lap by second place and does. That did lose a little bit of time though with the dirty air for Kuti, about 0.2 of a second. There'll be enough time for him to reel in the battle. Speaking of battles, Cook Day. He's been one of the best midfield drivers throughout the past few seasons. He's able to make the move on Root. Give a shout out to Root, remember, who's all the back in P10. Knocked around that front logo. Fernandez as well, having a good run. He's now continued to move up the field. He's your hardest charger, plus 11 on the race. Able to keep the car clean and in turn, still keep up with fights. Keep in mind, they are also reeling in P6 in this red box grouping. See that yellow car up the road? That is again the newcomer. And Vijay Rajaj, who does have real-world experience in Formula cars in India. Losing a bit of speed, though, off the corner. Good run this time from Cook Day. Approaching 3 laps to go this time as there's the aero push. One of the most difficult parts of trying to drive behind somebody, especially in recent times. The iRacing service is like the real-world counterpart. You get aero push in the corners, but if you can balance it out and time up the run, such as this with Cook Day, can make the speed work to try and make a pass. Cook Day on the outside through Blanchamont. Uses a bit of the rumble strip. Rajaj trying to hold on to the outside. Have the preferred switch back, a bit of contact with the rear tire. See if Cook Day will be okay. Looking like he is. He's running away a little bit as the tire wobbles back on. Root's able to take a position as well as a result. And now Root gets hit. Root spins around off the corner. And now for sure, Root with significant damage. Here's a look. Second time contact from that yellow machine. This time it sends Root around and breaks a part of his car off. As you can see, it's getting worse as Root hits the pit wall, trying to repair that race car, so his day may be just about done. Battle's not over yet. Fernandez still wants to charge up. This is to be plus 13 on the race for the 20. Chevlin Fernandez up a spot over Cooks Lake home though. Can he hold on to it? Gets hit from behind. He spins around. Rajaj this time able to make the pass as Fernandez is off in the stand. He tried to be bold and instead gets damage, all while Amith Kuti runs away for the lead a little bit. It's stabilized again now at 1.5 seconds. But they do have 2-lap cars, which they may deal with in the next couple laps. Our guest driver and Purist, as well as Yadriel up the track, all while P3, by the way, has finally changed hands. Now that Tija has been able to breathe, he's been able to take away the spot from Bidi Raja. Move back from Bajirajan. Once again, the 63 tries to make the move now on the inside into the final chicane. Forces the mistake. Preferred line still contact. Up and over goes the 63. And another car with trouble. Inside the top 10 this time. Going up and over in the side-by-side with Tija. And that significant damage means his race may be done. Takes about 3-4 minutes to tow. Kuti passes by him. Now it's down to 1 second though. Priyat V is inside the slipstream down the Camel Straight with 2 to go. The multiple-time series champion looking to try and win once again in this series. He's been gaining ground on this long run. Last time by a 2:13.8, Kuti a 2:14.2. Lap traffic will play a factor likely in the final lap. The 2 cars in front are just up the road from Kuti, about 10-15 car lengths. Kuti looks strong in Sector 2. Kuti, though, had lost time the past few laps in Sector 3, especially here. This time gains a little ground this time. As he gets around some cars with damage, that was our guest driver and Purist who had been demolished. So that reduces 1 lap car, which could be a factor. So unfortunate day for the guest driver, who was 5th in the Formula 3 Asian Championship standings the past season. As we approach the white flag, let's take a quick look at our 20-second driver interview. This interview was taking place earlier before this round with Abdul Hadi.
Other than racing, I would say football. I follow football a lot. I play too. I use the Logitech G29. I just started this year. I was just interested, so I just wanted to get started myself. Like I've always wanted to, but then all these F1 drivers started like using simulators and iRacing and stuff. So I saw it online, so I just went for it and I loved it.
Right now, this continues on for Kuti on the last lap, meanwhile. Cypher 3 still trying to reel him in, now down to 9/10 of a second. Only gained a 10th last time by overall, especially in Sector 3. May need a little bit of luck. And with the trouble that happened with the other car, looking like they may not reach Yadri unless Yadri makes a mistake. That's the 14th place car. That's now 20 car lengths up the track. John, comfortable spots for P3. G comfortably in P4. Cook Day now the biggest move from plus 12 in P5. But Priyavi, can he somehow close up 8/10? One last drafting section left of the racetrack. The run through Baltimore. He'll take a bold dive to try to get this win. Here comes the draft from Priyavi. Don't know if he's gonna get there. Coming around the final sets of corners, 10 seconds left on the clock as well. Kuti exits the final set of corners and gets ready to take the checkered. Amit Kuti, he's dominated round 1 of today, pulled away by as much as 1.8 seconds. He'll hold on to take the opening round victory. He wins round 1 of the Mumbai Falcons Indian eRacing Championship in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. Cyprithik comes home in P2. Tija holds on to P3 for a podium in one of his first races in this series, with Tiaji with one of his best drives in the series in P4. Hide them Cook Day. Able to stay out of the trouble, get through all the craziness in several of the battles, and take home a P5 to open up his campaign. See what happens when it comes to the official results for the one machine behind him in P6. Kazit, Mohammed made some contact in parts of that race, but still comes home in official P7. P6 rather, that's because he passed by this car for P7. That is for Jay Rajaj with damage. Somerville with a very quiet race. P number 8 officially. And Root did make it to the pit lane to get back going on the racetrack to finish off his race in P9 on the racetrack. Fernandez with his damage from the back end, still able to come away with a top 10 despite severe rear wing damage from the hit from behind. Here Rajaj, the question what if though after what was one of his best drives inside the top 3 much of the race. The rest of the drivers, Kumar, Roy, Yadri across the stripe. In total, 20 drivers entered, and 17 get the chance to take the checker flag today, including Yadri. In the final few moments, let's take a chance to take a glance as Yadri finishes off his lap to take a look at how they'll finish. Kuti takes home the victory by 7/10 of a second over Cyprith V to open up Season 4. Tija starts off his campaign with the top 3 podium finish, with TG in P4. Cook Day goes from P17, gets through the madness, and gets up to P5 to start his campaign 37 seconds back. Henry John finishes in P6. But John starts off well in his campaign, despite some rough patches. P7 goes to him. Somerville finishes in P8, Root in P9, and Batirajan in P number 10. Kumar finishes in 11th after running inside the top 5 much of the race, with Roy finishing in 12th. Fernandez officially is given apparently a P13. We'll see if that will be changed in post-race review. Yadri is 14th overall. Kotick finishes in 15th. Dudia in 16th, 2 laps down. Then DNFs. Pires crashed. From 17th, he finishes 4 laps down as the guest driver. B. Cavan, quiet race P8, was involved in early incidents. Hadi and Yadav rounded out the field for today. The driver who gets to celebrate, though, to open up the campaign, round 1's victory goes to Amit Kuti. How does it feel to be the victor today?
It's great. It's a good start to the season as well. It's a long season this time, so getting a win right away is like really good. So I'm quite happy.
How was the car feeling as the run went on? Because you pulled away by 1.8 seconds early on, but the gap started to shrink, it seemed, as the tires started to wear.
Yeah, so like as soon as lap 5 came on, I started struggling quite a bit with the tires. The car was quite oversteery, and every time I gained like around 3-4 tenths on Sai, I made the car like oversteered, and I made a mistake and I lost it back. So the gap was quite stable, and at the end I made 2 mistakes in one lap, and the gap became down to like 0.9. So I just had to coast and not make mistakes and get it home.
Now, a second race takes place tomorrow at about approximately the same time. Remember, no cue for that one involving inverts. What's it going to take to make sure you don't make the same mistakes in that race that you may have made today, especially having to deal with potential traffic?
Tomorrow, I think it'll be different because I won't be leading the race like today, and I won't be having Prithvi on my back all the time. So it's all about clearing the traffic in an efficient manner. And depending on if I have a crash or not, and if my race goes smoothly, it should hopefully be a good one.
Anyone you want to thank for today's run?
Yeah, I'd like to thank IR Esports, Mumbai Falcons, and Volkswagen Motorsport as well for giving this opportunity to me once again this season, and hopefully this season is good.
Congratulations on the victory to start off the campaign.
Thank you.
Amit Kuti starts off the season with a W. The driver who finishes in second is a multiple-time series champion, as Sai Prithvi joins us at the broadcast booth. Apologies there. He was discussing things, it seems, with a couple of his competitors. How do you feel about today's race?
The race was actually quite smooth. I really enjoyed that race. Lap 2, I had a problem with my brakes where I lost 1 second at Arouge. But then the entire race was me trying to get that time back.
How difficult was it to try and gain that set time back, though, in this race? Because you slowly did gain as Kuti made mistakes, but it wasn't substantial gains, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, it was just 1 or 2 tenths here and there. And yeah, I was more consistent, but he was slightly quicker than me.
What do you plan to adjust to try and get the speed that you need to try and take the W tomorrow?
Lots more practice, I suppose.
Indeed. Before we let you get to said practice, who do you want to thank for being a part of your top 3 run today?
First of all, I would like to thank all the sponsors, Red Bull India, IR Esports, of course, for hosting the event, eRacing, Indy Karting, Volkswagen Motorsport, and Mumbai Falcons, of course.
Thank you very much for the time. Congratulations on the podium.
Thank you.
That's Sai Prithvi coming home in P2 today for today's action. One of the drivers who will be looking to try and have a bit of a bounce back. We'll check in with Kellen Koshik. How were you feeling after your race today? A P15, 1 lap down.
Didn't exactly go to plan. I had a really good run during lights out, and I had a really good run in the Camel Straight. and just tried to stick it down the inside because there was space. And unfortunately, we went 3 wide there and we made contact. I'm not sure if it's my mistake, but I do apologize if it's my mistake. Haven't had the chance to look at the replays, but yeah, could have been better. Yeah.
How difficult is this racetrack to try and make sure you don't get into trouble? Because it seemed like several drivers had times where they may have misjudged the brakes and hit the back end wing of rear wing of somebody, or ended up losing the back grip and spinning the car around.
I wouldn't say it's the nature of the track, but you do have like very long straights, and people tend to miss their braking points, especially when they're in the toe of another car. So they don't really gauge. It's difficult to gauge how fast you're going with toe because you carry that extra speed into the corner, and one lockup is all it takes to hit the guy ahead. So maybe they should coast a bit and go a bit conservative when you're like behind someone. But yeah, I would say the ends of the long straights, the braking points are pretty difficult to gauge.
What do you plan to change to try and get a better result tomorrow?
I don't plan on changing much other than trying to keep clear of the incidents and trying to not make maybe a bit more conservative for the first couple of laps, just so that I don't get into contact and I don't ruin other people's races more than myself's race. But yeah, I think I'm pretty confident on where I can finish. I'm definitely not fighting for the top spots, but I think top 10 is definitely possible, even maybe top 6 or something like that. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's a long season, just race one.
Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
I mean, everyone in this organization, they've done an amazing job. This is, I think, season 4 or 3 right now, and it's been getting better and better each and every season. It's been a tremendous effort by these guys. I know how difficult it is to organize something like this, so huge thanks to you guys for organizing this and doing this. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for the time. Congratulations on the decent run.
Thank you very much.
That's coming home today in P number 15. The driver who finished behind him is, I believe, the last of the drivers standing by to be on duty. Do you have a copy?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, Justin, how are you?
I'm doing good. How do you feel today went for you?
Oh my God, it was so crazy. The game crashed on me. I started like 2 or 3 laps down, but the passion was there to just go for it. And I guess, yeah, whatever place I could, I just wanted to start the game again. So quickly restarted the PC, and somehow I got into the race. 3 laps down, but yeah, what can I do?
What was kind of your mindset like, knowing that you were several laps down, yes, but you also had several drivers who had trouble, especially with 3 of them involved in the first lap incident?
I haven't checked the replay yet. I would love to check the replay, what happened into the first lap, but the mindset was pretty clear. Just give my best, only clean laps, no mistakes. Maybe I was thinking I have seen in the previous season people crashing onto the last lap too. So I just wanted to keep it clean, go for it all the way, maximum that I could do. And that's how it went. Finished P16 out of 20. So again, it's a gain of 4 place anyways, even if it's 3 laps down. So still better than what would have been.
What are your expectations for when you and the rest of your drivers hit the track tomorrow?
For me, expectations, I see people are pretty faster than me, so my expectations are not so high, but I definitely would like to finish further into the top 10 for sure tomorrow.
Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
I want to thank everybody. Welcome back to you as well, and thank you, eRacing, Esports, Red Bull is supporting this year, and of course Volkswagen and Mumbai Falcons. So thank you again, and thank you to all the organizers who are bringing this to us, and it's expanding, so keep growing. Good luck.
moment of creation is a form of magic, where an off becomes an on, a 0 becomes a 1, then another, and another, until, deep in the complexity, you discover order, speed, reliability, power. Experience the WD Black NVMe SSD. Fueled by darkness. Level up to NVMe SSD performance.
Op 4 has placed a diffuser near a bomb. Destroy it. Diffuser located. Protect the bomb. Last operator standing. Located the diffuser. Destroy it.
Drivers are now making their way to the starting grid to start off the Junior Series season. Let's take a look at how they'll line up in the next minute or so. It's Sei Saran starting on the pole today in the number 3 machine, a 123.345 in qualifying. Belwar in P number 2. Agarwal is in P3. Gupta in P number 4. Iyer starts in P5 today with Amatish Rail in P number 6. Janik Panchal starts in P7 with Abdak in P number 8. Dashan starts in P9, and Sheaf was in the top 3 in the early parts of qualifying. Once the track ripped up, he dropped to P10. Didi finished in P11 in qualifying. Shadhari is in P12. Shibran Biswas is in P13 today with Privy in P14 in the 11 car. Chanel starts in the 15th spot. Kanepi Bard, along with the last of the drivers, and Avdish Kadam round out the 18 competitors expected to take the grid today. Engines are revving. The green lights are out. We're underway for the Junior Series at Okayama International Circuit. Great launch for Saren off the jump. Karam from the very back of the field had spun out. Everybody else clean for the most part so far in the opening corners. Biswas and Prithvi had also had an incident off in turns 1 and 2. They are now making their way through Mosses off towards the Outwood curve. Big miss of the braking zone. Off the racetrack goes Garvit Agarwal. The 16 has spun around going through the Outwood curve. He's now to the back of the field. The leaders, though, are running off and away. Saren is currently in the front. You can see the reasoning for some of the trouble back there. You see Saren now try and hold on for the time being. If you remember back to some of the races in this series' predecessors back in the springtime, it was difficult to hold on once the tire wear settled in with some of the draft factoring in. But remember, the dirty air can also be a factor here today at Okayama International Circuit for these junior machines. Should note, you may notice that it's currently a P3 for Saren. That's because Prithvi and Kadam have both pulled off the racetrack with tow trucks. They will cycle to the back of the field right now and move Saren up to the front of the field. He's your leader at lap 1. 20 minutes are on the clock for today. Estimated 14 laps the distance. Lap times around the 120-ish mark, give or take, we've seen. Here we are currently with a good jump so far. Biggest movers out the jump. Harf Chanel was able to get +6. Canopy. Jiraya. Any Pepini, rather, I should say, the 48 was able to jump up +4. Slipstream, a big part of this racetrack. It's a track that opened a few decades ago. It was one of the first private tracks in all of Japan. In fact, it hold all its corners named after English drivers. Made their names in British motorsport. For example, we're heading off towards Redmond before they go off to Hobbs and Mike Knight Corner. This was one of the biggest danger zones back in the springtime for some of these drivers, including Gupta, who struggled in this section. Gupta currently in P4 right now, nice and clean. He has had to pull on the tow truck as Saren's still running off and away. About 0.4 of a second is the gap. Lap times coming across the stripe this time by C. Saren and Company, 123.8. 0.3 lost by second on back on lap number 2. Spell Warrior is dealing with a bit of that arrow push. We talked about it a little bit. That's been such a factor throughout the iRacing service the past few months. Iyer is currently comfortable in key number 4. The top 4 ran away by more than a second. Rayo is currently in the 5th position. And Shaw is currently up to P6, a +1 off the jump for him. Yannick is in P7 at the moment. He's trying to hold off a battle for P8. Veer Sheep trying to send the dive bomb up the inside, not able to make it work in the hairpin. Off into the revolver they go, off towards Piper. Veer Sheep able to take away P7 though, able to force some bit of mistake there. Let's take a look. Well, that was in just forcing a mistake. That was punting somebody off the racetrack, pardon. So a spin around for contact for the 7th position. Chief may have a bit of front wing damage from that. Should also note P9 and Chanel had also spun off the racetrack and now is struggling at the end of the top 11. 12 drivers on the lead lap, and this is what we were just talking about. The 19 machine had several off tracks in Sector 2 that spun around the hairpin and the revolver, went off the track off of Piper. Now went from P9 all the way to P11. That was about 7+ seconds lost. Tidhara backing off this time. A bit more slower on corner entry. Looking to be more patient. All of the leaders are seeing this man run off and away into the sunset. Toren, an environmental engineering student by profession, is a gamer by passion. He's actually an admin for one of the main YouTube channels in India for YouTube gaming. Shown a lot of great speed in today's action, to say the very least, on the clock. Already approaching 6 minutes in. He is growing the gap by 0.3 of a second a lap. Gupta's also losing touch, as you can see here, though. 1:24.3. Last time by, the leaders are running the 1:23.5s. Track speeding up a little bit as the fuel's starting to burn out here at Okayama. But tire wear, remember, was a factor in some of the battles in the past few times. As you can tell on the board, though, Sheaf is up to P3. P6, rather. That's because the drivers like Abdeck having troubles. Who's in P8 just had a bit of an off-track for him. Everyone else on down as you see Abdeck losing touch with the cars in front. He's 20 seconds behind the race leader, running in P8. 2 seconds behind him is Dushan, I should rather say, with a chance to reel him on in if the mistakes continue. Curious how many drivers may be taking notes as this race goes on to see what happens in Circus Franco Shop with some of the craziness that happened here last season. Competition. Let's see, though, their grouping has built up. This is the 10th on that group. Technical issues for Bard up in the front of this grouping. May cause some trouble, nearly hitting the back end. That was Shadhari joining a bit of the fun there, nearly hitting the back wing off the 19 machine. Work later this time. Coming up to 8 minutes on the clock down. For the opening race of the Junior Series, in trouble. Had noticed the 19 may have been potentially having some stuff with the steering wheel, some quick flicks in the corners. On iRacing, you do have the option, say, of using a controller, and that time it looks like something failed on his setup in the steering. Hard left went the 19 into the fence. Tow truck used. My goodness. Let's turn the battles into a bit of separation for the time being. Barnett started to run away meanwhile for a little bit in this grouping. Shtari is now up to P11 on the racetrack. The car behind he is one lap down, so a two-car fight for position. Still dealing with those technical issues, which may cause a little bit of hampering here, and traffic is starting to actually pass by the fans for position. Shajari still wanting to find a way by. This could be tough, though, because You want to know the exact position of the car in this situation. Looks like he's finally built up enough of a run he's confident on. Narit Chadari to the inside, to the first corner. Force a mistake. Takes the spot away into Williams. Nice clean pass to take away P10. So a +2 for him on the race. Bard, that car behind is still the biggest mover on the racetrack, and now he's off the racetrack. Ajin Bard really overshot Atwood corner. Braking mark so important, he missed it by about 10 boards. Still clean though, that's the point, and he is also the last car running on the lead lap as Saran runs away with the race lead. 10 minutes onto the clock. One of our drivers for tonight, Shubham Biswas, said earlier today what he thought of today in today's driver interview.
My name is Shivam Biswas. I live in a small town called Baharampur in West Bengal. I am a student. I have just moved to college. I will be just moving to college after this COVID situation. And yeah, I was a science student in my 12th, but I've taken admission in computer science engineering. Other than sim racing, music is one of my hobbies. Then I like to drive our car around the city. That's a very unusual hobby, but I have that. Yeah.
Good personality. He's been having a rough race, should note. He is in 18th position, officially 6 laps down and off the racetrack. Fortunate start to his campaign. One car is off in the backdrop. That was Kadam, who has been having a rough race, 2 laps down. The top 2, though, are within a few tenths of one another. Warrior is now within 9, make it 8 tenths. As Saran's tire wear has started to kick in, about a 1/10 of a second quicker last time. He's been a 1/10 of a second quicker on average over the past 5 laps with 8 minutes on the clock, coming up to 6 laps to go this time by. See Saran trying to break up the slipstream, actually gaining a bit of ground this time into the hairpin. Warrior, though, with some good confidence in the braking zone to reel him back in. Lost a 10th, though, this time. Sen really losing the back end. Having to be careful on the throttle. Just lost 3 tenths in Sector 2 alone. Rough lap for him after closing in within a second. Now the gap is back to 1.1. Gained some time back on the exit of the last corner. It's going to need to take a bit of luck, though, to try and reel it in, especially with Saran setting the fastest lap of the race. 1:23.189, that time by. Coming now to 5 to go this upcoming time by. Sector 1 has been the strength, it seems, for Warrior on these laps, but Saran has been so good in Sector 2 to run away the technical part of the racetrack. Warrior was able to get a good run. The fuel economy and performance analysis engineer for Fiat closes on in, now within 8 tenths of a second. Trying to maximize the performance. The problem has been in this part of the racetrack. We've seen a Revolver, Piper, Redmond, along with Hobbs. You'll see the back end kick out a little bit in the corner with the sum of the arrow. That's where he's lost all his time in this section. Time is now about 1.2 seconds. Check 1.1-ish. It is bouncing back and forth, but is he going to have a shot? The Warrior to reel him on in. 5 laps to go. Of note, Abdak has had to pull his car into the pit lane due to damage. He was among the drivers inside the top 10. See, the gap between 2 and 3 is about 5 seconds between Gupta and company. Iyer is currently 4th, about 11 seconds back. 5 seconds to the next position. Rayo is in P5 on the racetrack. Within 3 seconds of trying to reel in the 4th position to start the season. P7 and P8 nearly had a scary moment. You may have noticed a bit of dirt puffs. They had to check up big time because Gadam nearly came back on the racing line with his troubles 3 laps down and nearly collected the battle for P7. And Shaw is far away from this group, but Sheaf and Dutchant are now within range a little bit once more. Huge send for the 2 to the inside. Can't get there. And a big mistake. Off the racetrack. Bit of the shortcut for the short course. Able to save him from losing more time. But now, the battle is broken up. Here's a look. Overshot on the apex. Part dirtier, part too much speed in. Right there, the pavement just helps him kick it back in. Shadari is currently within 3 seconds of him, by the way. The last driver of the lead lap is Bard, who is +7 from the drop of the green flag. 4 laps to go, and the lead is separated, by the way, for the time being to back to 1.3 seconds. See that gap grow right there. This part of the racetrack has been Saran's strength all day. Every time that Warrior has been able to gain time in Sector 1, where he's been able to carry more speed into the first quarter, Williams, as well as the Atwood curve, he's lost it from hairpin to revolver, all the way to the Mike Knight corner. It's now 1.9-ish seconds, about 1.8 in fact, off the corner exit. The last corner is where the 7 has been able to gain some time, but it's hard to keep up when the fastest car on the track is the race leader. 2/10 gained. Three laps to go this time. Take a quick listen in Sector 2 here and just hear some of the patience on the throttle and braking points in the gears. Just nice and patient throughout the corners. Too patient, you can argue, in the final corner. But still has the 1.4 second gap. The problem is lap traffic is a bit up the road. Kadam and Bard are up the track. Fastest lap set of the race, though, surprisingly, was by the 7. He found something all of a sudden with the speed in Sector 1 and was able to stabilize the gap in Sector 2. Well, we are. Here comes the lap traffic. Kadam nearly spins around trying to let the leader go. He's off the racetrack again into the tires. Top 2 are nice and safe. They pull off and away, but however, that was big. Saran lost about 6/10 trying to get by the lap car. coming up to the white flag this time. Valeriar now within 6/10. Backhand kicks out again from 3/10 lost again in the revolver. Of note, Rayo has had to come down to pit. He had an off track from 6th spot, has to replace his damage on his car, sacrifices a top 7 position. But Saran has grown the gap again to 1.1 seconds. 2 lap cars are up on the road. And this final lap, white flag, this time 30 seconds on the clock. Prithvi moving to the inside into turn 1. Saran forced to take the high side contact. Saran knocked off the racetrack. The race leader wrecked on the white flag lap. Unbelievable as Saran still can't get the car going. The Warrior is now in the race lead because of that. Gupta to second. Ivor is now in P3. Unbelievable. And say may be fuming in that cockpit, to say the very least. What was looking like a strong performance to open up the season ends in disaster. Pancho now has a chance to even steal away P4 with some of the damage on that race car. Well, it's going to take us one mistake. But for Valeriar, I don't know if he was expecting this to be the way to open up the Junior Series season, but out of the final corners, he'll take the checkered flag. He's your race winner to open up the junior campaign for the Mumbai Falcons Indian eRacing Championship in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. Wow. Gupta second, Iron P3, and a what if for Saran in P4. My goodness. He does hold on, did lose 2 seconds that lap as Pat Shaw will come home in P5. Have to feel for him. Chief up to P6. He was able to pull away from Shikari to the checkered flag in the battle for 6th position. P8 will end up going to Dachant. Bard rounding out the top 9. Rayo, Agarwal, Didi, and Prithvi, the last cars running everybody else. Multiple laps down. DNF Schnall, along with Abdek, Kadam, Kapani with a quiet race, 11 laps down, and Bijwaj rounded out the 18 drivers who made it to the racetrack. We'll take a step aside. When we come back, we'll have the Pro Series hit the racetrack. You're watching the Mumbai Falcons Indian eRacing Championship in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India.
The moment of creation is a form of magic, where an off becomes an on, a 0 becomes a 1, then another, and another, until, deep in the complexity, you discover order, speed, reliability, power. Experience the WD Black NVMe SSD. Fueled by darkness. Level up to NVMe SSD performance.
Op 4 has placed a diffuser near a bomb. Destroy it. Diffuser located. Protect the bomb. Last operator standing. Located the diffuser. Destroy it.
they will be with the inversion for today's action here on IR Esports for the opening race of the campaign. And Kit Roy is your pole sitter with the invert today. Kumar is in P2. David John starts in P number 3 today with Root up in P number 4. Summerwell starts in 5th position today with Viswaz up in the 6th spot. He showed some decent pace in the later stages of the event. In P number 7 today, it will be one of the drivers to keep an eye on today in the number 1 machine at Kashik and Rajab. Cook Day is in P8. TG is in P9. And Deja rounds out the top 10. Your top 2 drivers from yesterday, and Prithvi and Kuti will have to start in traffic in 11th and 12th, 12th driver invert as per seen last season. Fernandez starts in 13th position, Yudri in 14th. Kalchuk is starting at 15th, Dudia in 16th. Harris in 17th, Gavin, Kadudia, Ahmad round out the drivers. Last driver on the grid is our guest driver. Off and away, race number 2 of the Mumbai Falcons Indian eRacing Championship in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India is underway. Up the Kimmel Straight they go for the first time today. Roy trying to break up some of the slipstream. Kumar trying to poke to the bottom side. Summerwell trying to also get a good run. There was trouble in Lake Combe last time here. This time the leader's going off the track. Several drivers collide. Spin at the front of the field. Several of the top drivers able to dive their way through. Everyone else flipping. Roy's in it. Root's in it. Priyavi collected. Viswaz also in the incident. Kaushik also stopped on the racetrack. And TNG is in the race lead with all the chaos. What a start to this race, to say the very least. The gap is about 1.2-ish seconds already up to the race lead. Cash is in second. Tejan is in P3. Kuti was able to get through cleanly to get up to P4. Among the drivers already out. Kevin Kaushik is already out of the race. Tajira, one of our guest drivers today, already out. Kumar with a tow. Roy with a tow. Root with a tow. Prithvi with a tow. So in total, 14 drivers able to survive the incident in Sector 1. Trying to hold on to several different drivers, trying to swap them around for positions. This is in the final chicane. One driver way wide. That's Oshan way off the racetrack. Pierre is able to give him some space. This is the fight that is currently for about P7 on the racetrack. Kaushik having trouble. He spun around in the middle of the racing line. Other car spinning. Ahmad also spinning around, trying to avoid him in La Source. And you see the trouble, several drivers colliding with the 1 machine. And Cash having a bad string of races to start the campaign. Meanwhile, your race winner from yesterday is already 3.1 seconds back. The problem is, he is dealing with the fun of battling with one of the strong drivers yesterday, and Teja, who is among the drivers fighting for a podium before mistakes. And the newest comer, and Fernandez, who impressed, able to get up to the field with the most spots gained yesterday to open the campaign. Wow. You can see that grouping. The question is, can TG hold on to the gap? There's about 16 minutes or so on the clock coming up. Fernandez has lost touch within a second to these two, the top 3. Now try and pull away. Should note that the 1 has had another off track, trying to get around the racetrack to try and use the faster pair available for him. The top 6 have been able to get off cleanly, including this man. Harris did not put in a qualifying time yesterday, had his off tracks in his qualifying attempts in 10 minutes or so of group qualifying. Today looking to show what he can do. Coming back today Learned a lot, to say the very least, he said post-race. He is a part of the Porsche Asia talent pool. He's a Formula 3 driver for the Asian Championship, was 5th over on the standings in the past season. Also was a race winner during its Winter Series. Colombia-based driver. Showing some decent pace today, and that 21 was also fairly quick in practice. 3 also holding up very well. Should note that the 1 has had a technical issue. He is now done for the race, so he now joins the several DNFs the first couple laps around the racetrack. Now, one thing to note, this is a classic pit start for today, meaning rather than what we normally see, especially even with the shorter pit lane where the finishing line's at the end of the racetrack out of the final chicane, it's out of the source, as per the olden days to the early days of this racetrack. So that'll give some extra time later on. Dre's trying to make some moves, trying to get some slipstream. Of note, Kuti is trying to hold up P2 at the moment, and actually took the race lead. Where did that come from? Tia G lost a ton of time, it appears, in the final chicane and was able to take advantage. So Kuti's in the race lead because Tia G had a side spin in the final chicane coming to the end of the second lap. "14 minutes to go on the clock." Teja also within the top 3. Fernandez also quietly in 4th spot. Harris is also currently a few seconds behind in P5 on the racetrack. The pace is currently in the 2:15s. We'll see if he picks it up as the fuel starts to burn off. Cook Day is in P7, 15 seconds back. He was able to get through some of the carnage early on. Vishwaj was able to do so in P8. Dudia also in 9th, and Dudia with a much better run in P10 for today. Now, for those tuning in, we'll be asking 3 questions about the duration of today's Pro Series event. The 3 people with correct answers will get exciting prizes. First question for viewers along today, on Facebook, on YouTube, along with Twitch, is first, who are the 2 Red Bull Junior drivers racing in Formula 2 this upcoming season? Be sure to comment in the various viewing sections for today's action. Second question as well, who did the high altitude dive for the Red Bull Stratos project? Ask our third question later on today. Looking at some of the air drivers, should note that Vishwas has had to come down to use a faster pair from the top 8. So some of the drivers you see here may have a shot to gain some track position. Prithvi, he had some horrible luck, remember last season, after being the title winner of the previous campaign. Same for Root. These 2 drivers showed a lot of pace last campaign, but to start the Pro Series, having a lot of attrition. Federico Teixeira has also elected to come back into the race. He's in P15. See how he goes, as looks like the 1 has also returned back to the racetrack after having his technical issue. Roy's in 17th after being the race leader early on, and now is trying to pass by the 1. This is not for position. 3 drivers are still off the track. Kaushik, picking up Daria and Kumar. Those drivers today. 5 estimated laps to go this time by for the drivers. By the way, at the end of the racetrack, these drivers have about 6 laps to make their way around the racetrack, because see the backdrop, some of the other drivers trying to gain some time. Big dive of the source for Roy. He does gain some time on Cook Day, who also had to come in due to trouble for him. Again, this is not for position. This, however, is going to hold these drivers up a little bit. Roy trying to make a move on this position. Has now cycled 2 for position, apparently. They're being on different lap cycles moments ago. Enkid had a prediction for today's race. What was it? Take a listen.
Hello, my name is Ankit Roy and I am racing with Esports in the Pro League. And today my prediction for the race is I should not crash. I just don't want to crash at the first lap itself. And I wish that I be in the top 10. And I think I'll probably be there, like in the top 10. And no crash, please. I just don't want to be a part of that whole mess again, just like yesterday. And I think this is my prediction. Top 10. Say amen.
Currently holding on to the 16th position is Roy at the moment behind the number 1 machine. So one of the drivers, remember, who had to use a faster pair. The thing is, Roy had 3 minutes and 19 seconds with the tow. One had a technical issue as he tried to pedal it around the racetrack to hold on to as many points as he could. But Amit Kuti, yesterday's race winner, already is in the lead by more than 2 seconds over Tiaji Teja. Rounds out the top 3 at the moment. This battle for second may not be done yet. A great recovery drive for the 46 compared to yesterday. This driver you see in P3 has to absolutely be in good spirits, I think. 19-year-old student has just 3 months of sim racing experience entering today. Has looked very, very good today as well as yesterday. Very poised, and now tries to hope that internet cord stays in. If anything was to happen, Fernandez has a chance to try and skip over. I want to touch upon that driver in the backdrop. See, they're a few seconds behind. 3 years of sim racing experience for the 20 machine, entering today 26 years old. His profession, filmmaker, hobby photographer. He was hoping to finish mid-table. The way he's looked so far, I think, based on what we've seen from Fernandez in terms of potential this season, he might be able to finish at the top part of the table. The question is going to be, though, how we fare at the other tracks on the calendar. Some of the other tracks include the Nürburgring's Grand Prix circuit, round number 2. Okayama, which we've seen was absolutely crazy. Legacy version, Daytona International Speedway, among many other favorites in this series' history. Coming up to 3 laps to go this time by, as he's now lost about a second. Harris is also doing a pretty decent job here today. New to sim racing. Currently is about 5/10 off the car behind. Yatri is actually starting to reel him in a little bit. Walker, who's won it from the fourth level. Some also the Rotex, HL Max 2 Senior Series. Had finished second overall in that championship twice in 2018 and 2019. See if Pierce is able to hold on to a top 5 in his second race in this series this season. He was able to gain a little bit of time off the corner. 3 laps to go for these drivers on screen this time by. 6 minutes on the clock in total. One driver that looked to try and bounce back after the day. Was involved in an earlier spin, but is still chugging along one lap down. That's the 23 of Najib. Come on, let's take a listen in. He spoke with our Esports prior to today's action.
Hi, this is Najib, and I'm from Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. So I've been into racing from the last 3 years, and I've participated in multiple national championships. Volkswagen AMU Cup being the last one, where I stood 9th in the championship overall. My hobbies will be, other than racing, I usually go for long drives. That's the only hobby that I got, and not much serious, but I'm into photography. I really like both Sai and Amit because they're always on another level. Because how hard we practice, they're always on another level. I just hope I can reach up to their level. My sim setup is pretty basic. I just use a laptop and a G29 fixed on a desk in my office room.
Currently 18th, was also looking in good shape for a top 10 before he had that spin and some trouble involving the one machine. Under 5 minutes to go on the clock. We'll take this time to ask our final question. Do you know who the team principal is for the Aston Martin Red Bull Racing Formula One team? Be sure to follow the hashtags posted by IR Esports, Facebook and YouTube versions of this broadcast, as well as those following along on Twitch today. For those tuning in, Amit Kuti looking to go 2 for 2. TG looking to go for his first podium of the season. In some of the invert races back last season, he looked fairly strong and was able to actually come away with some decent points hauls in some of those races. Today it's been very clean. He stayed out of the early trouble, and outside of that side spin, he's been looking fairly sporty. However, Tasia has slowly been reeling on in back within a second that had broken up by a second and a half a few laps ago. Some good driving from the veteran, to say the very least. A 2:15 won last time by but a 2:14.7 for one of the newcomers. The gap is slowly but surely growing, it seems, in Sector 2, and this is one of the most difficult parts. Again, we talked dirty air during the Junior Series race. Once you get into some of these chicanes, it can really push your car tight and force you to get off the throttle. And this is the most technical part of the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps shop amongst its 20-plus corners. It's trying to follow single file and choo-choo train. Handle it right, though. You can handle some slipstream to try and take a dive for a pass, whether in the final chicane we've seen several times today, or whether in Les Combes we've seen as the most popular spot in the series so far in the past couple races. Everyone's fan favorite, by the way, is in P4, 8 seconds back of the race leader, about 3 seconds back of the next position. In solid shape to keep that position, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes. Let the rear-wheel driver go. Reed has also kept him within arm's reach in QS. Has not been able to get within more than a second. These past few laps, as soon as they got within the second, the aero push started pushing some of these competitors' time. Jean Cadudia, he's recovered to a P7. And the action so far, a plus 12 overall in the race. When you think about the starting grid positions, some of the earlier trouble, he's the first driver who used the faster pair. Summerblow, Dudia, Viswaz among those drivers next in the ordering. And Cowan's in P11, Sai Prithvi. Not within range to even get up to 11th spot at the moment. He's in 12th. Will need some big time luck to gain some spots on the final lap. White flag is out, as you see in the top corner of the screen. About a minute to go is on the clock for Root and Company. Jura is currently in 14th. Our guest driver was involved in that big one in the first lap. Roy as well was involved as well as the one machine. Ahmad is the last driver running at the moment, but one man has been dominant. One final sector to go for the defending champion, Ahmed Kuti. Time looking like he'll reach the final spans in the final corners for the Blue Warrior. But it's been a dominant run for this driver. He got the chance to get real-world experience. With the top prize last season, he's propelled himself in a great spots to do so again this season. A couple more corners to go for the 16-year-old student. Lap traffic lets him on go. That's Roy. Nice and patient as the time has run out. Ahmed Kuti starts off the opening weekend of the season with the sweep. He wins race number 2 with the Mumbai Falcons Indian eRacing Championship in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India's Pro Series. Tiaji comes home with a P2, and Teja ends off the weekend with a podium spot. Fernandez, the fan favorite, finishes in 4th, Purus in P5, Yadri comes home in P6, although he did take one last gasp in the final few laps. Katadia was able to come home in P7, it appears, as Summerwell is about a full 2 corners back for P number 8 in the 64 machine. Rudy, a much better drive today after being involved in the earlier incidents, is behind him in P number 9 on the racetrack. Preparing to round out the top 10 as the last drivers get ready to cross the stripe. In total today, 15 drivers finishing on the lead lap. Drivers who will not do that: Roy, Ahmad, Cook, David, the DNF, Kumar, Adira Raja, and Kaushik today. Sai Prithvi going to have to work deep from the points in P12 after today. Rest of the drivers will cross the stripe with many spaces among them for the positions. Here's again the race classification after today. Ahmed Kuti with the full sweep of the opening weekend of the action. He's your winner in races 1 and 2 at the Circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. TJ finished in 2nd today with the invert. Teja finished in P3. A good run for him today. Fernandez, impressing many today, was the biggest mover yesterday, is one of the biggest movers today. In total, he goes +9 for a P4 finish. Purus, +12. He is tied for the most spots gained in the race. He was able to beat Yadri by just under a second. Sean Kadadia finished in P number 7, Summerwell in P8, Rudy in P9, Viswaj in P10. Calvin and Prithvi round out the top 12. The rest of the drivers, Root in 13th. 14th spot went to Tixira with Kaj in P number 15. Roy, Ahmad, Cook, Day, Kumar, Badiraja, and Kaushik rounded out the drivers today. An eventful one today. And I think the one driver who's going to have a lot of smiles on his face is the man on the 12 machine. He gets the full sweep of the weekend. How are you feeling, Ameth?
I'm feeling great. I'm so lucky to have avoided the collision in turn 4, turn 5. So it was pretty easy from then on. Just had to take 2 cars, and it was quite an easy race compared to yesterday.
It was an interesting one to say the very least. What was going through your head as you tried to reel in Tiaji, and then you seen up in the distance that he had a 4-tire drift in the final chicane to burn off all the gap he had on after the wreck?
Yeah, I was already catching him, but I wasn't catching him at a rapid pace, only around 2-3 tenths per sector. And then I saw him make a mistake in the final corner, and my eyes glowed up. I knew I could overtake him into the chemo straight, but then he made another mistake in turn one, the final turn, which I was lucky enough to avoid. So he basically handed me the lead.
Overall, though, a strong weekend to start off the championship fight. What's going to be your focus like for the next race, though? Because it goes to a completely different racetrack. That track on the schedule this season being the Nürburgring.
I actually like Nürburgring quite a bit, and it's gonna be quite cool to go to another new venue. I don't really have a change in mindset. It's just gonna be the same as this weekend to do well and try to win the race. So yeah.
Who do you want to thank for being a part of your weekend sweep to start off the season?
I'd like to thank all the audience, IR Esports, Volkswagen Motorsport, and Mumbai Falcons for giving me the opportunity to race this weekend.
Congratulations on the back-to-back victories to start off the Pro Series season.
Thank you.
Once again, that's Amit Kuti coming away with the victory today. And what was a dominant performance for the man in the blue machine. Some other drivers standing by, many looking to try and get the words in. Why don't we go to one of the drivers who are involved in some of the chaos if we can. And Rohit Roop, do you have a copy? Mr. Root, do you have a copy, sir? We was dealing with an audio issue. We'll try this one more time. Root, do you have a copy? Speak to the birthday boy in a second. Allow him to work on said situation. But one of the drivers I think that fairly impressed some drivers today was Oshan. And his performance today, he was tied for the most positions gained today. Oshan, do you have a copy?
Hi, yes, I can copy.
First of all, I have to ask your opinion. You started at the back of the field today. What was going through your head when you seen, oh hey, there's 7-8 cars in the grass?
Well, that's made up positions. I just saw, okay, that's like gold for me because I'm making up so many positions. I kind of knew that I had pace for the midfield. So if I'm making up positions on lap 1, C1 crashes or C2 crashes, then yeah, I'm more than happy to take them. So yeah, I just had a smile on my face, but even I had a small damage, so I had to pit. Otherwise, I think I had pace to fight for maybe top 5.
Yeah, you were actually the first driver who took a faster pair, who had to come down and pit. In fact, you're the only driver who didn't take tires when they did that as well. What was the drive like overall in this race, though, to be able to get those positions as well as make sure you didn't make any mistakes?
Yeah, I think most important was not getting tires because what I've observed is the moment I change tires, they stay good or consistent throughout the race, but like the first 3-4 laps, it's super cold, so it's hard to actually push the moment you're out of the pits. So yeah, I think that helped quite a lot to maintain that pace and keep fighting with the people in front, or just maintaining gap with everyone who are either front or behind me.
Great point, especially with the cold tires, especially known for being the fastest on a third lap in some of the open wheelers. But next race goes to the Nürburgring. Your thoughts on going to that track for 2 more races?
Yeah, I'm super excited that I want to race on Nürburgring, but I unfortunately can't because I have some commitments personal on my personal side. So as much as I'm looking forward to race at Nürburgring, I can't, and that's the sad part. So
what
for
do you
me,
expect? Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so for me, this championship is more about maximizing from the races that I'm doing.
Apologize there for cutting off the split second there. Was going to ask, what do you expect your competitors to do then at that track?
Yeah, well, I'm guessing the leaders are going to make the most of it, but yeah, the midfield, it's hard to say because there are so many crashes or incidents, and some of them maybe end up in the pits. So the one who's going to be consistent is going to be in the front. That's what I see it like. So maybe 1 or 2 races down, I'll know who I'll be competing with or who I should be focusing on in the race to fight against or to not fight against.
Who do you want to thank for being a part of your top 10 run today?
Uh, the ones who crashed. I would thank them because they made my gaining of positions easy for finishing in top 10.
Congratulations on the good run today, going from 19th to 7, Oshan.
Thank you.
Oshan Katadia coming home in P7 today. Strong driving to stay out of some of the trouble. Take this chance now to try and catch up with the birthday boy. Rohit Root joins us in the broadcast booth. Do you have a copy, sir?
Hello, Justin. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. First of all, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Second of all, you didn't get the best of birthday celebrations and going through the comb. What happened?
Didn't went as per the plan. Actually, I was keeping safe from the guys in front and back as well. But I think there was quite a big contact in front, and cars were like dancing all over the track, and I had no place to go. And so I hit a guy in front, and then someone hit me from behind. So I had to tow my car, and 3.5 minutes of towing on this track is like almost race over for you.
Yeah, absolutely unfortunate, especially with several drivers collecting in that, at least 6 or 7 in total with the damage.
Yeah.
What was kind of your mindset like after that to try and recover as many points as you could?
I actually did not see how many crashed, but I was hoping like they'll also lose the equal amount of time which I am losing, and then I might have a battle with them when I get back on track. But I think they were out of the pits quite quickly, and then again it was just put in some good laps. I tried my best, but the gap in front was quite big uh, and was not able to make it.
Your focus on trying to recover then for Nürburgring, what's that going to be like for next weekend?
The plan will be same as this week, like to have good consistency. If not the fastest, but to do a good pace consistently and stay out of trouble. Uh, that will be the focus. Lap 1 will I'll try to be more cautious, try to avoid the contacts.
Who do you want to thank for being a part of your race today?
First of all, thank you to the organizers, IR Esports, for having this season, and then all the sponsors, Mumbai Falcons, Volkswagen Motorsports India, then we have Red Bull India. Everyone I'd like to thank, and also the fans who voted for me. I think I had quite a few votes yesterday. I don't know about today, but yeah, thanks for watching and thanks for supporting.
Yeah, just looking through, you had at least a few in the final stages of the race for the fan boost on the Facebook side today. Congratulations on the decent run today in recovery.
Thank you, Justin.
It's Rohit Root joining us. He finished in 13th today, but
The moment of creation is a form of magic, where an off becomes an on, a 0 becomes a 1, then another, and another, until, deep in the complexity, you discover order, speed, reliability, power. Experience the WD Black NVMe SSD. Fueled by darkness. Level up to NVMe SSD performance.
Op 4 has placed a diffuser near a bomb. Destroy it. Diffuser located. Protect the bomb. Last operator standing. Located the diffuser. Destroy it.